Hey everybody, Beth Helvey, Michael Saunders and Company here for your Monday market update. Seems to be what we're doing right now in this current situation because the numbers as we go week to week are more important, I think, than when we're looking at numbers on a monthly basis like we tend to do or quarterly or whatever. So a couple things I want to go over with you. Here's your Monday market update. As of the last 7 days, because we're going a week past, right? There were 292 new listings in Sarasota and Manatee County. And I'm doing Sarasota and Manatee County because I serve both. So we're looking at Bradenton, Anna Maria, Lakewood Ranch, Sarasota, Osprey, Nokomis, Venice, and the part of the north part of Northport is still in Sarasota County, but most of Northport is in Charlotte County. So back to my numbers. 292 new listings in both counties within the last 7 days. 7 days we're looking at. There were 328 price decreases. I think that's probably to be expected. There were 133 back on market. So we talked last Monday, about people who are taking their property off the market. Typically speaking, historically speaking, it has been for non-virus reasons, obviously. Maybe somebody is sick, maybe somebody had surgery, maybe they've got family visiting, maybe they're out of the country, and they're just simply not there to prepare their property and they want to do it themselves instead of letting me do it, or letting their realtor do it. Maybe they were taking the property off market because they decided they needed to do some work to it, perhaps something like, painting new roofs, staging, that sort of thing, which is actually not uncommon. Once we start getting feedback. So after we had a lot of numbers where people were taking their property off the market, we now have 133 back on market. And that includes those people as well as properties that were pending, which means that we were under contract but not sold. And then for whatever reason, the contract fell apart. That's actually also not terribly unusual, but I think we're going to be seeing some different numbers here. And I'll give you a couple of reasons why we may have more back-on markets once I'm done with this. We had 377 sales close. Now, let's not also forget that part of what this means is that 30, 60, 90 days ago, this contract was started and then continued and actually closed. Money and keys exchanged hands. So when we say something sold, it didn't necessarily sell in that week. That process had already been started, okay? But it does mean that we're able to get these people to closing. And then we had 274 go pending. That is the important number. That is the number that says that a seller and a buyer agreed to terms and went under contract. So that is what's telling us how much business is or is not going on. And then we had 92 go temporarily off market, which is a significantly smaller number than last week. 46 were withdrawn, again a smaller number, and 101 were canceled. Hi Lisa, which is again a smaller number. So I think the people that we're gonna pull out, hi Paul, because of this is going to be smaller. I think people are still gonna pull out because of the virus. I think it's just going to be fewer numbers. We already had the big batch of them. Hi Bonnie. Now, back to the back on markets. Part of those are people who failed to close the contract. In our contract, if you are getting a loan, you have 30 days to get your loan approval. If some of those people lost their job, or if they became ill, or if somehow their financial circumstances changed, for example, maybe they got caught up in the FHA change where FHA raised their minimum of what your credit score could be, or, and things like that, they will come out of contract. A lot of times, the back-up markets where people were pending and then didn't come back under, fell out of contract. Hi, Lori. A lot of those people are typically negotiating terms, inspection terms, things like that. Hi, Nita. Not necessarily because somebody lost their funding. And I really don't know what that number is. That's a number that's going to be difficult to actually track. Hi, Angela. So let's talk about, and those are your numbers for the week. And we'll come back again on Monday. We'll go over those numbers again. Are they low? Yeah, of course they're low. Not everybody's putting their property on the market. Not everybody's traveling to look at properties. A lot of our people here that are buying and selling aren't necessarily local. So, and if they can't get here, they're not all doing that. And yes, we do virtual tours. I do virtual tours. I do virtual showings. I do all of that for people. But there's still those people that really just want to look at the house themselves. And I get that. So that's where we are. Now, you probably saw on, I think it was Friday, maybe even late Thursday, Zillow put out a headline that said, there's a 25% decrease in the amount of new listings. And it was a big clickbait kind of article. And those of us in the real estate world were like, well, yeah, duh, of course there is. And here's why. That article is national. That's a national headline, probably taken from NAR, probably possibly even taken from their own stats, because of course, most every market feeds to Zillow. But if you think about it, of course there is. And for a really, really good reason. There are parts of this country where real estate is not essential. And if real estate is not essential, you can't list your house. I mean, there's ways you can, but the people who are listing their houses in the non-essential areas are significantly fewer because there's a lot that needs to be done in order to list your house. And a lot of that's hands-on. I mean, whether I'm listing a $100,000 property or a $2 million property, I am at that person's house helping them get ready. That's part of my job. And if you can't go to somebody's house to help them get ready, then you can't list, and they're just going to have to wait. So what that article, if you bother to actually click on that article and, read it, instead of just, reading the whole clickbait headline, you would see that that's what they're talking about. So again, we've got parts of the country where that is going on. We've got parts of the country where they are, if you come in to the state, they're asking people to quarantine. So they're doing that here. So they're doing that in Florida. They're supposed to be asking people from the Northeast, like New York and whatnot, where the hot spots are, that if they come, that they need to self-isolate for 14 days. It's kind of hard to look at property because most people come for a weekend. So it's kind of hard to do that. But yes, listings are going to be down. And they're going to be down. And it makes total and complete sense. Those of us in the real estate industry were saying, well, yeah, of course. We expected this. Once things started rolling, what's it been, a month, 6 weeks now, we knew that there weren't going to be listings. So we've now shifted into more of a buyer's market. A lot of the rest of the country still had low inventory. Sarasota, Manatee County, my personal area of Florida, we were getting more inventory, which meant that we were around the 4.5 month mark versus weeks or month. Hi, Paul. Hi, Brian. Like a good part of the rest of the country. Okay, and every part's different. Okay, so because of that, when there's low inventory, that means that buyers when there's low inventory, sellers rule the market. Okay, because they can determine, oftentimes there's multiple offers. It's not unusual for properties to sell for over market value, over ask price, things like that. We were getting away from that here, except in certain pockets. We were getting away from that here because we were becoming more balanced. And balance is 6 to 7 months of inventory. We determine that by how many properties are selling and how many properties are actually listed. It's really an easy calculation that we do it. Hi, Mike. So we are leaning now towards lower inventory, which means that once all this is lifted and people start moving about again, like we were, 2 months ago, that we're going to be back into a low inventory situation with buyers with pent-up demand who want to buy. Hey, Paul. And that's where we're heading. We're not going to head towards crazy prices. We're not going to go back in that direction again. There's too many things in place, especially when you talk about lending, that doesn't allow it to happen. Hi, Hector. There's too many things in place that won't let that happen. But that's the direction we're heading into. So sellers, if you want to sell, go ahead, and you want to and you're comfortable, go ahead and list now. You're not going to have a lot of showings. But when the pent-up demand is released, because we're all able to go out and about again, you're already going to be ready. If you don't want to list, don't. But you know what you can do is you can get your house ready now. There's a lot of things that need to happen. It is not unusual for a house to need 2 or 3 weeks worth of work, packing up, cleaning, organizing, staging, before it's ready to list. Do all that stuff now. You know, you're home anyway, or maybe you're home, maybe you're essential, but do all that stuff now so that when the time is right, you're ready to go. Buyers, keep looking. You know, all this stuff is online, and you can get a lot of information. You know, you can contact me. I can research a lot of information for you that you can't get online and answer those questions. And you can start familiarizing yourself with neighborhoods and areas and price points and needs and you know, desire lists, want lists, and things like that. So that when we are all able to be out and about again and, you know, they let us all out, we're ready. But don't let those Zillow headlines freak you out. It is actually perfectly normal, and it should be that way. That was just a clickbait article to kind of fuel people's concerns, and it really shouldn't have been. It should have been brought across as more informative, and it should be like that, and we should have lower inventory, and we should have a decrease in listings, because then that means that people are actually doing what they're supposed to be doing and staying home. Okay, so are the numbers low? Yes, they're going to be low for a little bit. They're going to be low until third or fourth quarter. A lot of that will depend on, you know, how this whole virus plays out and when we're all allowed to be back out in force. And that's what we're going to keep seeing for a little bit. But that doesn't mean that if you are interested in selling or buying, that you have to stop. This is a good time to do your research. This is a good time to ask questions. This is a good time to figure out what you want, and a good time to do your homework if you can't get out or you don't want to get out. So I hope that helps. I hope that answers some questions. So be really, really careful when you're clicking on these headlines, especially the real estate ones, because just like every other headline you're clicking on right now, a lot of it is just to grab your attention and freak you out so that you'll either click on it or repost it. So just read the article, and once you get into the meat of the article, that is exactly what Zillow says. So I hope y'all are having a good day. I don't know if y'all saw the weather, but we had record high temperatures yesterday here in the Sarasota area. So it was hot. It was still beautiful though, nice and breezy. So today is supposed to be in the upper 80s. If you can do social distancing and get out, please get out and get some vitamin D, wear your sunscreen, drink lots of water, and I will see you tomorrow. If you have any questions on this, or if you'd like me to forward you any information, I'm happy to. Throw it in the comments or send me a DM, I don't really care. And if you have any questions on real estate in general, or throw it in the comments or send me a DM, either way is great. So I hope you all have a great day. Happy Monday, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.